thing. You just type in what you want and you don't know what you're going to get. You find things that you didn't even know that you wanted, and suddenly you want them. I didn't want this picture. I had other things in mind, but this picture, this image, just struck me. The doctor, Luke, tells us that as Jesus was in this position on the ground praying, he began to sweat drops of blood. Extreme stress and extreme anxiety. Not anxiety, that's not the right word. Just the pressure that was on Jesus as he knew what was coming. It was immense. Do you want to know how far Jesus went down the ladder of glory in order to save you? He tells them as they begin to come and arrest him, and it's Peter who takes out the sword and strikes Malchus, the servant of the high priest, cuts off his ear. Other Gospels tell us Jesus then heals the ear. And, no more swords, guys. Put them away. At which point the disciples flee. You want to know how this Jesus who could say, if I wanted 12 legions of angels, I could just snap my fingers and they're here. And this crowd with clubs and torches and a betrayer with a kiss could do nothing against him. Do you want to know how low he got? This Jesus, this Son of God, needs the prayers of those fools that were following him. The ones who had no clue what would happen, the ones who would soon turn away and run away. He needs the prayer of Peter, who's going to deny him 3 times. How low can Jesus go? That this is what he needs. I need you, he says. My soul is sorrowful to the point of death. I need you. You weak, sinful people. I need you to pray and to watch. Just a spiritual picket around me for just a little while. That's how empty Jesus became. This is just what Paul talks about as he wrote to the Philippians. He did not consider equality with God something to be grasped, but emptied himself. He became a man. And that wasn't enough, he became a servant. And that wasn't enough, the servant had to die. Jesus, at this moment, needs those men, imperfect, full of doubt and questions and totally lost. He needed their prayers. So how powerful are your prayers? If the prayers of Peter, the denier, are so coveted by Jesus, so necessary for our Lord, how powerful are yours? You don't walk in here perfect. You don't walk in here with your act all together. I know you too long. I've been here too long. I know you too well. How powerful are your prayers? And this time, not because Jesus is in such need, not because Jesus is, oh my goodness, I would want to move and do something if only my people would pray. It's not like that. Your prayers are powerful because of what he went through. Because of that passion and that suffering and that emptying out of everything. To the point where he needed the prayers of Peter. He needed the prayers of the other 10 that were there with Peter. He emptied himself so that you might become a child of God. Child by grace. One chosen by the Father. Given to Jesus. And your prayers are powerful because you are a forgiven saint of God. Do not take your prayers for granted. If your prayers haven't been answered in the way that you want them to be answered, that doesn't mean they have not been heard. It may mean that you didn't pray quite the direction that you needed to go. It might mean that the Lord is saying, I hear you, and I'm going to do it, but I'm going to wait, and you're going to grow, and you're going to pray some more. It might be just what Jesus went through in Gethsemane, laying there in agony, pleading with his Father. The Father heard him. You bet the Father heard him. And Jesus did not get what he was asking for. He got the will of the Father. And thank God he did. For your sake and my sake. Your prayers might feel like they're bouncing off of walls. You might have people tell you your faith isn't strong enough. You're not a good enough person. You're not righteous enough for God to hear these prayers. You just tell them, my pastor says that's a bunch of baloney. Because it is. Your prayers are powerful. Your prayers are heard. Because you are forgiven. And you are redeemed. And you are a child of the Most High God. And he loves you. As we get ready to walk into tomorrow, maybe you're going to walk the stations tonight. You're going to start here where we leave off in Gethsemane, and you're going to go through the whole thing. Reading those scriptures, saying those prayers. Maybe it's starting tonight as we begin to look at the depth of this suffering. We see this incredible act of salvation take place. Do not lose heart. The world is tough. It will muddy your feet. It will cause you to despair. It will seem like it's the rut. It will seem like your prayers are bouncing off walls. You are forgiven. You are loved. You've been redeemed. And you are heard because of Jesus Christ. To him be the glory. Amen.